Pumping on the go. Yeah, we do that. Okay, so for those of y'all that don't know me, hey, my name is Celeste, and I'm an exclusively pumping mama for two littles. Have filled a stand-up freezer twice, once for each of them to get them to their first birthdays with breast milk. I have traveled a lot, especially with our first child. I traveled 6 times across the country with him in tow, pumping the whole enchilada. And so, y'all, I have learned some tips, and today I'm going to share my top 10. So, if you are getting ready to travel or have a friend that's traveling or might be traveling with a baby and they are pumping or breastfeeding, this is for them. Please share this message, especially when I talk about TSA and the airlines, because I had a really fun run in with Southwest, and I can help you navigate that a little better than I did in that moment. I swear I had that experience so I could share it here. So let's talk about pumping and traveling. So first of all, it is stressful. It does take a little bit more time, and you're going to have some grace with yourself and whoever's traveling with you. But remember, if I can do it with me, myself, and a baby in tow from 3 months all the way past his first birthday. He was 14 months old, I think, the last time he and I traveled alone across the country. If I can do it 6 times in 14 months, you've got this. And I mean, I flew with no one. It was me and him only. We had layovers, the whole enchilada, and I did pump on the go. So it was now I look back and I'm like, how did you do it? But we did it. We did great with it. And it wasn't as hard as I thought. And so let's talk about it. Number one is keep your pumping schedule as close to the same as possible. Now, I adjusted my wake up times to make sure I could pump as soon as I got up and then before we actually boarded the planes, if possible, because a lot of times from the time I left our house to the time we boarded the plane would have been almost 3 hours. And so a lot of times I would try to get one more pumping because a lot of airports have nursing stations or little nursing pods. And so it's an easy space that I could have him safe in a space, right? A lot of times I would travel with one of the blankets, especially before he was mobile, that could just lay on the floor and I could fold it in on itself to keep it clean, and I could use it again if I needed to at one of our layovers. So, but keep that pumping schedule the same, okay? Makes life a lot easier. Number two, remember hydration is key. Like you heard me talk about this, you hear me talk about it all the time. So make sure that you take your empty Stanley or empty Yeti or empty travel water bottle with you through security. And then I love to go to the coffee shop and have them fill it for me. A lot of them will do that happily for you with ice. And a lot of times their water is filtered, so it's better. So I do that. And then I buy an extra water, alkaline water or electrolyte water there inside the airport. So that way I can refill as I need on the travel. Okay. So that's one of my easy things. Number three, I eat enough. So make sure I eat breakfast as soon as I get up. I make sure that I have snacks with me. I have protein bars with me. I have peanut butter crackers with me. I have things with me I can eat as I travel. Because I know if I don't eat and I don't drink water, I can't produce the milk. Number four, I pack everything twice. What do I mean by this? I have an extra complete set of pumping parts that hasn't even been opened yet, just in case something goes awry. I have all my usual stuff. I keep them packed in Ziploc bags. So each Ziploc bag has a full set of whatever I need for pumping. And then I have a separate Ziploc bag that has the milk or the bottles, in it. So the bottles and like all the parts, okay, already as put together as I can get them. So that way I can touch them as little as possible, okay? So it makes it much easier. Now, pro tip, when you're coming through security and you have milk, if it's frozen, all you have to do is declare the frozen milk. And if it's breast milk, you need to declare that too coming through TSA. While we're talking about milk specifically, if you have like Dr. Brown's bottles like we do, then you put the green pieces right together, and you actually need to put the little piece that says "Do not throw me away," the little tiny disc on top, and then put your lid on with the bottle, the nipple part with the lid. So if you don't put that little piece on there, when you go through security, if your bag tips over, I've had this happen, literally had it happen, then milk comes out of the nipple and it gets onto the conveyor belt and they have to stop and clean it. Literally, yeah, I stopped the show in Louisville, Kentucky one morning, no joke, because of that. So good times. And the lady was super sweet and she was, joking about, she goes, "You just stopped my line, Blondie." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." And she goes, "Yeah, girl, just put the little disc in there." I went, I've never had this happen, so I will do that from now on. Also saves you in takeoff and landing because the pressure in the cabins change. So again, if the milk bottles tip over in your bag, or your bag is tipped over under the seat, it'll keep it from coming out. I've also had it spill like that. So there you go. There's that. So packing everything twice and having everything in separate bags is The queen. Yes. That way, when you're done with the pumping part, you can literally put it into your carry-on, right? So you just put it into the carry-on and take it out of the pumping bag so you can wash it when you get to your destination. Number 5, dress for comfort and pumping. That's what you're thinking about, girlfriend. You're thinking about double layers, right? So I always have a nursing tank top on with my nursing bra and then another shirt over that. So I literally have my 2 layers. I have a reel on that. If you've never seen that in action, it makes it really easy. But that way you're not trying to full with one of the pumping bras that goes around you and all the things, like you're already just dressed for it. So it makes it 10 times easier. I do always carry a cover with me, not for my modesty, but for everybody else's that might not be comfortable with a pumping mom. So it's not awkward. And then it just makes it simple. Number 6, I plan for the milk. So I have a plan for the milk on the go and when I get to where I'm going. So on the go, I make sure I have a cooler with ice packs. Ice packs need to be completely frozen to go through TSA. Just remember that. And so the awesome thing about that is you can keep your milk cold as you're going, right? So you're good. So I run by the rule of thumb of the milk is good for 4 hours out, but I try to get it on ice as quick as I can if I'm not going to immediately be using it. So there's that. Then when I get where I'm going, I make sure that I either have a refrigerator and or a freezer, okay, depending on where I'm at. If you don't have a freezer right where you are, then one tip that I did when I travel, and I can't guarantee it's going to work for you, but it did work in about 4 hotels I was in while I pumped for our first baby. I turned the refrigerator as cold as it would go and the freezer on like the little tiny freezer on the refrigerator that doesn't use to freeze anything. I turned it as cold as it'll go. And I packed a piece of cardboard with me. So it could be like something like out of a notebook. It could be like, you know, a small piece of cardboard that like a breast milk bag would fit on. Okay. And I label them as I go and I put one piece at a time into the freezer. So if you put one breast milk into the freezer, the bag, and it freezes, mine got lucky and froze. And then I started moving them down and I would move the next one to freeze to the top. And so by the time you get done, all your frozen milk is in the refrigerator, but it's cold enough because it's frozen that it keeps everything frozen. My refrigerator in my room, traditionally, all 4 times I tried this, did better than the freezer at the front desk. I tried once to get things frozen at the front desk and it never froze at all. Thankfully, I was still in the window of 4 days, so I got it home before it went bad. But I was like, oh, I did better than y'all did. Anyway, there's my hack for that. Number 7, have a cleaning plan. So I have a travel set of brushes that travels with me. Anytime I'm going, it stays in the pumping bag if I'm leaving like on a trip. So that way I can clean the bottles and actually have a place for them to dry that's sanitary. Number 8, no TSA rules and guidelines and your airlines. So I ran into an issue with Southwest down in Dallas. Yeah, this was not fun. The lady demanded that my pump was a carry-on because I didn't have my baby with me. I was so tired from the trip and they had canceled my first flight. So I ended up showing up early, got on an earlier flight. And so I didn't have the wherewithal because of like, you know, jet lag and sleep fatigue and all the things to pull the airline's rules right there. I didn't even think about it until it was too late. But they absolutely would not let me on the plane with my carry-on, my tote bag, and my breast pump. My breast pump, your breast pump does not count as a carry-on for like 99.9% of airlines. Read the rules and screenshot them. I did have a cow when I finally landed back in Arizona. We lived there at the time. And I actually had the manager, like I waited for the main person over Southwest there. And I had him actually go through my pumping bag. I'm not even playing. So he could like file all the reports. I was like, no, I do not want another mom to ever go through this. I said, this is not about me. I said, this is about another mom that won't stop and talk to you because somebody was ridiculous somewhere. I said, here are all your own rules. He goes, I know the rules. I said, well, apparently Dallas doesn't. So please go through my bag. Go on. I'm standing right here. If you want me to take it all out, I can do it if you don't want to. But I want you to see everything in my bag so you know there's nothing that wasn't supposed to be in there and that it is truly just my breast pump. I don't do wearables. And so he did. He was very kind. He was very, very kind. And I filed a complaint, ended up talking all the way as high as I could go at Southwest. They never refunded my flight or anything. I got like a $50 voucher, and I said, the whole reason I'm making a big deal out of this is because I don't want another mom to go through it. I said, you penalize me because I didn't have my baby with me. And I said, I'm a working mama. I may work from home most of the time, but I do business trips. And so this is not fair for any working mom. And so anyway, make sure that you have TSA's rules for milk, TSA's rules for frozen milk, TSA's rules for your pump, And all those rules again for your specific airline. If you happen to talk to your airline before, because I called Southwest beforehand, also ask them where you can find that specific information online so you can screenshot it, because just telling them that you talked to Southwest beforehand wasn't enough. So shout out to Southwest all the rest of the times I flew with them. They were wonderful. It was just the one like hitch, right? And so I guess 6 cross-country trips, one crazy person, that's okay. Anyway, but I don't want another mom to ever have to go through that. So anyway, it made it a lot easier for me once I screenshotted all the rules, had everything ready. It saved me once in Louisville because there was a younger TSA person that didn't know their own rules about breast milk. I'm like, no, babe, here's your rules. You're welcome to grab a manager. I'll be happy to step out of line and wait, because they were trying to tell me I couldn't take my breast milk through. And it was all set in bottles with the lids on like I was supposed to have them and all the things. And I said, I can take through as much as I need for him. And I only have 2 bottles, and you're welcome to grab a manager. I'm more than happy to wait. So always be super kind, right? But know your rules, know your rights. And then wait if you have to. Number 9, allow extra time for everything. And I mean everything from TSA to extra time to board in case they do give you an issue with your pump. Anytime I had an extra bag, so if I had my tote, my carry-on, right, which I usually like the diaper bag, carry-on, and the breast pump were usually the 3 things I had if I had my son with us. If I didn't have him, I had my own tote that has my snacks and my water. I had my carry-on, my small one, and then I had the breast pump. And I would always walk up to the agent at the gate before time to board and just say, hey, when you see me jump on with 3 things, please know one of these is a medical device. It's my breast pump. And the only time I had issues was the one time in Dallas. All the rest of the place, all the layovers, Southwest was great. But if you declare it early, then when you're going to get on the plane, then it doesn't halt the boarding process for you. Usually it makes it a lot easier because they already know what you've got. But especially if you don't have your baby with you, please take time to do that. And allowing extra time allows for all of that, right? So you have extra time to pump, extra time if you have to clean things, you have extra time for all the pieces that could go awry. Just even if you're out and about, like during your trip, right, allow extra time before, during, and after things. Just be mindful, because sometimes it just takes more time because you're not in your usual environment. And then number 10, reduce stress where you can, which is why I suggest screenshots for all TSA rules, screenshots for your specific airline, why you already have a plan, all your pieces sorted separately. You have a plan for the milk, all the things, because when you reduce stress and have a game plan, you are 10 times more likely to have less stress and not impact the milk supply as you travel. And you guys, traveling can be wonderful with littles, and it can also be wicked stressful. And so I hope these 10 tips bless you in some way, because I have traveled a lot. Now that we're back east of the Mississippi in Ohio, we do more driving in the car, traveling. And so these tips work really great for that too. So you don't need screenshots for rules. But yeah, it's awesome because I don't fear getting in the car to drive and travel and do all the things about my milk supply, because I know what to do to take care of it on the go and when I get there. So just have your plan in place. If you have questions, you guys, feel free to message me and find me on Facebook and Instagram, Coffee and Chaos with Celeste. You're more than welcome to message me your questions. If you have questions before you go on a trip, I have loads of friends. Whenever they travel for business specifically, I get lots of texts, lots of phone calls, and lots of Facebook messages from my friends or their daughters or their friends or even their granddaughters now, asking me questions about traveling and milk supply and all the things, because they know I've done it and I've done it a lot. So like I said, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. If there's another piece on this you want me to elaborate on, I'll be happy to do that in a reel for you or a live video. But you guys, happy travels. Don't let pumping and taking babies with you places keep you from going and doing and seeing. Go do, see, play. Just have your game plan together. And that way your milk supply and the baby's milk and everything will thank you later on. Questions, I can't wait to see them. Let me know what helped you the most in the comments. And I promise I don't hate Southwest for that. They were wonderful, like I said, outside of the one piece. So anyway, take care of you, take care of your mentality, and take care of your milk while you're traveling. You got this, mama. And if somebody hadn't told you today, girlfriend, you're doing better than you think. Make it a great day.